from when y'all saw him? 0%. So I remember when I saw these gentlemen shortly after that call, they thought there was no way you were going to keep your arm. Right. And you obviously have 2 arms today.
Yeah,
so
I can open bottles and I can do 50 push-ups now.
And you're doing physical therapy and everything's going well.
Twice a week.
Okay. So everything's going
good.
Going good. And I think one thing to explain is he had artery damage from all of the trauma he incurred when he was under the off of him. That bleeding was uncontrollable, and Dylan and the other firefighters, Dylan actually had some combat medic experience being in the military, and all these gentlemen have been trained in the use of tourniquets and bleeding control as EMTs or greater levels of certification. They thought really quickly and stopped that bleeding. And had that not been for that quick thinking, that quick response, it was very likely that Justin would have been here today, because if that bleeding goes on for just a few minutes, that can be life-threatening. And so I think, like I said, you're a miracle.
Yeah, for sure. Dylan's training definitely made a big difference, because he explained to me, he knew exactly what he was looking for. When that truck came up, he looked for it, and he was on it real quick. I mean, it was fast. But I'm glad y'all were there.
And then after they got you, it took them a little while. They called for a helicopter. Do you remember your helicopter ride downtown?
I remember.
How was your helicopter ride downtown?
It felt like a while, but it wasn't that long. There again, I was just so thirsty because my body was just taking all the fluids out of my body to really send it here. So.
Captain Richard Mix, and let him come forward and introduce his crew. Captain Mix is the C shift captain for us, and responsible for the men and women that you see in front of us today.
First off, thank y'all for being here today. This is one of those things that we normally don't get to see. Typically, we run the call, we go home, we go back to our normal lives, and we don't get to see the people. But Justin, it's good to see him. Bless you. Glad he's here with us. The crew, you guys did a fantastic job. Y'all come on up and I'll introduce you guys. Everybody that was on the scene that night, if you don't mind. Lieutenant Buick, Lieutenant Brownwall, Firefighter Ramirez, Engine Operator Dylan Stevens, Firefighter Nettedog, Firefighter Kahn, and Firefighter Carruthers. We stood back and just kind of watched them work, so there's your credit right there, guys.
First on scene. This call was actually kind of video to me. Me and Justin, I've known for a really long time. We went to school together, grew up together. That's kind of one of the downfalls to working in the community that you grew up in is, you get to help out, in the community, make it a better place that you grew up in. But then you make a tragic call, there's a good chance that you're going to know the person that is involved in the accident. So, this situation and Justin, making it and being able to come up here, and it's, it really shows what all the training that we do and everything pays off. So it's really good.
When your family has gotten to know Justin's family, I guess, through this incident. So how is this for you as a care provider and with your military training? Talk about that a little bit.
Well, obviously, this is the first time I've ever experienced this, where you meet the person afterwards. During the call, when I was giving my orders by my lieutenant, you could tell immediately that he was in a bad situation. So he and I were talking back and forth. I heard his wife when she came on the scene talking to him, and like I said, I just was in the military for a long time, was in corps school, so I had a lot of tactical medical training, so I knew that when we lifted that car up, he had an arterial bleed wherever it was going to be. That's where I situated original tourniquet that didn't work, it failed, but I grabbed where it failed. Basically, like Justin said, he and I just talked all the time. Every couple minutes he was begging me for some water, but it broke my heart every time that I had to look at him and say, I can't do it, man. But it was, honestly, I think the biggest thing is like Lieutenant said, was our training as a crew for all 3 stations. So this was, even though I was in the vehicle, my lieutenant had the confidence in me to let me do what needed to be done, and I believe that it was an absolute team that got this job accomplished, and the reason Justin's here right now. So, from the guys lifting the truck, to me in the car, to us getting them out, it was absolutely a team effort. So, I'm just glad he's here. I'm glad I was able to do what I was able to do, and the guys were able to do what they were able to do. So.
They did transfer care over to Lifeline. So tell us a little bit about your experience that day, and if you care to.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's totally off the cuff, but I remember, as soon as I got the email, about that, we were gonna be able to meet them, and I was like, I was really ecstatic. I just found out probably a month and a half ago that he was able to keep his arm, and that he had actual full function, and what we were talking about earlier about the percentage of him actually getting to keep his arm. I remember walking up to him and getting that first glance, that first little visual assessment on him, and I was like, wow, I mean, this poor guy's arm is, for lack of a better word, hamburger meat, you know? There's no way that they're gonna be able to save that, you know? But, and then once firefighters got him out, they got him handed over to us, we're trying to get his pain level, taken care of, trying to get him some medicine. Yeah, I can't believe that you remember most of it. I thought we gave you I'm sitting there thinking of that, like, oh man, it's like, but, I know one time, I don't know if you remember, I came over and I was looking down at you through the passenger side window, and you kept wanting to look over at your arm and stuff, and I was like, bro, just don't even look at it. It's like, for me, I try to tell those patients that, look, just get your mind off that, let's keep your mind on being alive right now. And I remember that was the biggest thing I kept telling you. And yeah, and so getting them out and having that arterial bleed that we had going on. I was, a lot of that stuff, I mean, then after a while, I've been doing this for 13 years, and after so many calls, you kind of tend to just kind of forget the actual person, and you deal with the problem on hand, and I think that's pretty much what me and my partner and my supervisor did. We just dealt with the problem on hand, and trying to get them all packaged up and ready to go for the helicopter. And again, I'm stoked to see that. I can't believe it. I cannot believe that you got to keep that on. It's amazing.
Yeah, the Montgomery County Hospital District, how excited you are to have people in your situation, and so it's always nice for you.
Number 1 wasn't here, but number 2, able to do the things that he does with him. Who's your best friend? Dad. They do everything together, and now he's helping coach his baseball team. He's teaching him things that he should be teaching him as a dad, and he's here. And now you can do push-ups with Daddy, and you're helping Daddy do therapy, aren't you? Just thank y'all so much for everything. I can't thank y'all enough for what y'all did.
And can I just say one thing too? My son, this is my only son, and he's my baby. And any of you that are parents know the gratitude that I feel in my heart. Thank you so much from the bottom of this family's heart.
Good job. Carter, look, buddy. On behalf of the Porter Fire Department, happy birthday, young man. Carter, not your dad's day, but
see the fire truck, see if there's worse some water, and maybe even get to ride in the fire truck.
Three, one, two, three.
Okay, so we're my brother. Alex, you want up there?
Yeah, Daddy needs to get that shot.
Say cheese, Blake.
First of all, what is your name?
Justin Overall,
Spell your last name.
Overall.
Tell me.
Hey.
Just tell me what happened that night and what you remember.
Well, on 59 at 5 o'clock, I incurred a motor vehicle accident and I rolled my truck. And the Ford firefighter showed up on scene, and I was pinned underneath my truck for quite some time, and they had to extract me, first lifting my truck with airbags, and then getting me out of the vehicle. They had to cut my window out and get me into life flight and go on to Memorial Hermann.
Tell me a little bit about the experience with your arm. Here. Tell me how your arm was pinned, how bad it was, and what it's taken as far as recovery, and how you made the recovery.
The arm was almost, we thought we was going to lose the arm. It was quite gruesome on the scene. Everybody said there was a 0% chance of me keeping the arm. It was said to look like hamburger meat. But therapy's going great. I've obviously kept my arm, and I go to therapy twice a week, and I can do normal functions. I can open Coke bottles and everything.
So full use of it now.
I can do 50 push-ups now, and we're 3 months in, so I'm expecting to recover a lot.
Okay. All right.
Yes, sir.
And that was what, it was under the truck?
It was under the truck.
Tell me what you remember about the rescue and the guys working with you, and them talking to you, the medics and the firefighters and such.
Yeah, after the truck was lifted, I was bleeding out and the artery was severed, so the firefighter jumped in the vehicle with me and had to use his hand as a tourniquet to stop the blood flow in order to keep me from bleeding out. And he set a tourniquet, but the tourniquet failed, and at that time he grabbed it again. He pinched the artery off with his hands and hung out until they could get the blood flow under control. If he had not done that, I would have probably died there on scene. But that was...
So they flew you into Hermann?
They flew me to Hermann. After that, Mr. Stevens just made sure I wasn't looking at it and just turning my head and pretty much saying a prayer for me to, to survive and keep my arm. So we became best friends.
Great.